And it wasn't for my sins. It wasn't a road that I went down. And I kind of do regret that a little bit. Fuck you, Goldie. Follow. So I just went, the ketamine crowd, the acid crowd, I can fly. You know, the MD crowd are doing this. I got the energy level wrong. So the energy level also is massively important. Your set can't do.
Join the journey, stay for a while.
Hey guys, and welcome back to another episode of KohPhanCast, the official podcast of Koh Phangan Island. And this is with me, Graham Gold. After 53 years of music career, clubs, DJing, radio shows, trance, progressive house, melodic house, this guy has done everything, from being one of the pioneers of the UK trance scene into one of the screws of the Koh Phangan scene. Nothing but amazing person. 70 years old, and I wouldn't give him a day over 55, because this is the energy of the island. This is the energy of someone that knows what he's doing, that is aware of his paths. So without further ado, guys, like this video, subscribe to the channel. Let me know in the comments what you thought about this conversation, and let's get into it. KohPhanCast, the official podcast of Koh Phangan Island. Enjoy the episode. And we're on. Graham Gold, doing something for 53 years.
Unfortunately, that gives the age away, and I did lie on my Facebook for 10 years because, you know, it's a young industry, right? And, you know, obviously what keeps you young is the industry, the music, girls. But when I was coming up to the big 7-0, because like a lot of my peers, you know, like Coxie, Oakenfold, you know, people like that, they're top, mind you, Pete Tong's 60, 65, but the others are like 10 years younger. And I often wished I was 20 years younger. But then I would have missed out on all that music that formed me, you know, to where I am now. I've had my career, you know. Now I play because I love playing. I'm still passionate as ever about the music, but realistically, the career that I had from right up until 2005, I guess, you know, that 2010, that's kind of gone. But yeah, when it was coming up to my big 7-0, I had to put on Facebook, hey, sorry guys, I've lied to you all since 2008. I'm actually 69 and I'm going to be 70.
Graham, you don't look a day over 55.
Do you know,
okay.
There was a girl at Zen Beach the other day, and she thought I was 54, and I said, you know, you've got shit in your eyes. But yeah, and I guess you said about your mum, because Israeli, yes? Yeah, I used to play Israel loads. When people ask me the best club you ever played, Oman 70 in when it was in Jerusalem is in my top 3, and in Tel Aviv I used to play Octopus, Alamut 58, because Jez and Chuppy were good.
So let's have it like flat from the start, because we jumped right into it.
Yeah, we did.
For the people that doesn't know who Graham Gold is, give me 30-second recap.
Okay, knew at 14, 15 what I wanted to do, which was pretty good because I was absolutely crap at school. I was only good at sports and French. But of course, back then, to make a career of it, it seemed impossible unless you were on the radio, and I desperately wanted to be on the radio as well. Then in the 80s, so I was a soul DJ, same as Norma J, same as Roger Sanchez, same as Carl. We were all soul DJ. First time I played with Carl was 1983 in this dodgy club in Brixton. And Then in the 1980, I got a residency at the biggest black club in the UK called Gulliver's in Mayfair. Not biggest size-wise, but Muhammad Ali, Mike Tyson, Stevie Wonder, Jimmy Cliff. I sat with Jimmy Cliff for half an hour. Wow. Whoever was big in black music, politics, sport at the time came in. And then... I was involved in the Kiss 100 application before. It was the one pirate I never did. I did the Soul Show on Capitol in London. I did the Pirates. I used to do the Radio London Soul Night Outs. And then Kiss came along in 90. But of course, I was in a black club. 88, and through that whole decade, because in 1980 America went disco's dead, and the whole BPMs dropped to 100, and if you actually look musically through that decade, it went up, 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 and then of course house music was born out of Chicago, 88, and it was born out of black, Hispanic, gay. Not that Gulliver's was gay particularly. Well, no, it wasn't, but we were a black club and heard this music that was basically an extension of what the sound of Los Angeles records was doing in the mid to late 80s, but instead of live bands, it was electronic. And then Kiss, and then house music, then that's longer than 30 seconds, isn't it? And then I discovered trance. And I think trance is probably what made my worldwide name back then.
Yeah.
But now I've gone back to house because I can't dance to 138.
Yeah. It's a hard failure for most of us. But honestly, Graham, like you told me, 53 years of a career behind you. It's unbelievable. Like, I have so many people here that are so passionate towards what they are doing.
Oh, that's nice.
And it's gonna be my first and probably also my last question. What keeps you doing the same thing for 50 years?
I can't do anything else. What can I can drive. And actually, when I had 6 boxes of records stolen back in 1979, that was, everything that I was going to work with. So for about 8 months, whilst I rebuilt the I didn't rebuild the whole collection. There was stuff in there that you're never going to get again.
Yeah.
But yeah, I was driving a van for this company delivering Swarfiga. That's that stuff you wash your hands in, mechanics in a garage.
Mm-hmm.
But gosh, I had to work. But it's the passion. I just love music. What would the world be like without music? And I still get nervous as shit before I go play. Some people don't, but many do. It's not always a good thing. I mean, I died on my arse at Lighthouse, for example, last Tuesday.
You told me.
And I've beaten myself up for a week because Johnny, acrobat before me, I can follow anybody normally, but I wasn't prepared for 2 hours of kind of full moon jungle experience. Not tech house. It was great house, but kind of Dilby. People called it deep house. It's not deep house, but yeah. And I just kind of froze.
Yeah.
Doesn't happen. And I was telling a friend this, and she said, but you were incredible at Seaboard, where we get to play a 5.5, 6.5 hour set, which is magical, right?
And also the early environment of Seaboard is just beautiful. It's so intimate, so loving. For 7 years I'm going there. Beautiful.
But what I also like about Seaboard, and I think why I excel there as opposed to this Lighthouse crowd were very young, but then I do Full Moon and I do Jungle Experience. But the crowd at Seaboard is older.
Yeah.
And they totally get the journey. They totally get that at 8:30 you're not smashing 1 to 8.
Yeah.
But there is a couple of DJs on this island who say, we don't make Journey. Well, okay, if you're playing, say, a club's 10 till 6 and you're playing 2-4, sure, you don't do a journey. But if you're doing 6 hours, it's a fucking...
Yeah. No, you can.
It's a fucking journey.
I'm going to tell you that, okay? To each their own, and 2025 is the year of perspective. And anyone could do whatever they want. No one particular law. Do whatever you want. Just play good music, you know? And like we started from the end from right now, and let's go all the way back, okay? To the years that you started. What was the first party track set that made you feel like...
I kind of never class myself as a party DJ, and that's maybe a little bit of a problem on this island, because I don't want to be all things to all people, and you know, and you can't be now. So it was black music. You know, I said for many, I still say, I think I was born the wrong colour.
Yeah.
Because I just wasn't into white boy pop. You know, my first heroes were Otis Redding, Sam Cooke, Wilson Pickett, Aretha, of course, and reggae. And reggae, when I was 15, reggae was the thing. And in England, I mean, he's worldwide famous, David Rodigan. I think everybody knows Rodigan. And when we first met, which was actually at Kiss, he couldn't believe my knowledge of reggae. But, you know, and then Gulliver's came along. It was a black club. It was African originally. UK black and African, and then we had the transition to West Indian in 1984-85. But being like African Nigerian, that, you know, brought me people like Fela Kuti, King Sunny Ade, you know, these people that if I was a party DJ I would never have heard of. And you know, so black music, and to quote LTJ Bookham's album, everything that we've all done, say, going back to Cots, Morales, Sanchez, whoever, everything has been a logical progression in our career, because it's constantly evolving.
Yeah.
You know, disco was house, but, you know, the warehouse in Chicago hadn't opened, which is where the name came from. But you know what? You would be so surprised. So can I tell you? So about 4 or 5 years ago, I was sitting with David Chong. So David Chong is one of probably my favorite DJ on the island, because he was playing vinyl. So for sure I have to have respect. His knowledge of music, he back in the day, I lived, breathed, slept it 24 hours a day. Now I was fucking 71 this year. I want to have a bit of a life. I've had an incredible life, but we live on this beautiful island, right? I want to say, I'm going to the beach this afternoon. But anyway, so I was sitting with David at his house one afternoon, and I said, you know, if you want to be a car mechanic or a photographer or a hairdresser, you go to college, you do a 2-year course, or if it's something a bit more, 3 or 4 years. But to be a DJ, and I only brought this up with him because there was a Russian dude on the island who said, oh, I come to the Koh Phangan, and I see my friend go DJ, he get the drugs and the girls, and I want to be DJ. So I phoned my friend in the Moscow, and he sent me the MacBook, and I buy the top 10 from Beatport, and I'm DJ. Really, dude? So I sat with David, and I said, I want to do this 20 questions about house music. And I said, but I'm not going to post them if you don't post them, because I'm going to get the haters and you're going to get the lovers. So I sent David the questions, and of course he knew everyone. And, you know, they were basic, like, where does the word house music come from? You know, where does You Got the Love come from? They know, just, you know, what was the first label out that started house music, and what was the label that was huge in Chicago? It was so Trance and DJ International. But the new DJs, again, they don't care. So anyway, we posted the questions, right? And yeah, for sure, why does it matter where it comes from?
Yeah.
Well, you know, if you want to be a photographer, for sure, you learn all about David Bailey, for example. Or if you want to be a fashionista, you learn all about, fashion back in the day. So anyway, yeah.
That's exactly it, And you said earlier that like you wish you were born 20 years after. But now when someone is exploring the world of music, of trance, of techno and things, they go and learn about you also. Because at the end of the day, if not to be the one to be in the scene while it's happening, you were one of the pioneers to create the scene.
In England, yes. If I'm totally honest, because people have said that, I was probably much more of a pioneer when it came to trance, because in England, in '88 when we had our first Summer of Love, for example, and the big M25 raves, I was married at the time and going 6 nights a week into Mayfair. Didn't know anything about, I'd never done a drug in my life, and I was already 35. Didn't know anything about it, but when trance came, I kind of I guess because I come from a soul background, and there's emotion in trance, because of the melodies.
The melodies, the environment, the atmosphere.
And that's why I just can't get into tech house, because it's just sounds so generic. But I always said, as a DJ, we must never forget average age of clubbers, but it's not the average age here on Koh Phangan.
Yeah,
it's older. But if we were in London or you were in Israel, no, Israel always had an older crowd.
Yeah.
But 18-25, average age. I hear DJs say, "Oh, I'm playing you music because I want to educate them." No, these people do not want to be educated, and by playing new music, you're not educating them. You'd be educating them if you kind of flipped genres massively halfway through a set and went from a Dilby track to, I know, something straight out of Detroit, and it would make them go, "Oh,
yeah, journey."
They wouldn't. Well, it's not so much. It's the people who would go to a tech house venue, for example, would never hear anything out of Detroit, for example. They'd never hear even like a Jeff Mills track or whatever. But if you flipped it and did that, and in your head said, "I want to play you something you wasn't expecting," it still has the power, it still has that would be educating. But the whole point is, most people hate their jobs, right?
Yeah.
They go to work Monday, Friday, 9 to 5. When they go out, they just want to party and have fun. They don't want to be educated.
They want to get fucked up. That's what they want.
They want to get fucked up. And also, if they're into tech house, they don't want to hear a melodic, a John Digweed or a Sasha or even a Denox who was here. Because they wouldn't, they wouldn't get it. They don't get it. They want this bouncy thing. So I have forgotten that rule a little bit. But it's only because it's not what I play.
Yeah.
And I have to be there every track I play. Not playing something just because it works.
Yeah. Because it has like this
commercial appeal.
Exactly. Yeah. And I'm going to ask, a question that I ask also Denox at the podcast.
I'm honoured to be in the same room as Denox. He was great on Sunday night.
Oh, he was.
We have a little place here called Grasshopper Bar at Zen Beach where I do a chill-out set and then we go slightly melodic after sunset. But they made a party on Sunday.
He had
Denox and Aaron
set.
Sweets, and I love Aaron.
Yeah, Aaron's going to do the podcast
Not
as well.
in a sexual way.
So I'm going to ask you that. As a person, again, 50 years of career, like a lot of people talk about genres. You were there when they were invented. What is the...
So glad you brought this up.
What is the thing with humans to put things in boxes? Why do we need to give this stuff? I play minimal, melodic, house.
We had a DJ on this. I won't name him because he's very popular. He's super good. He's a super good DJ. But I watched it. We had a thing on this island called Pangangist.com, and I play deep house. Is exactly how, and I play minimal. Exactly how. I mean, personally, I can't stand minimal because I find it boring. But hey, if you're on ketamine or acid, wow, it's probably amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I'm so glad you brought up the genre thing, because I think half the reason why I do get so nervous still is that house music is this huge umbrella.
Yeah.
Right? And I am anal. You have to genreify your music, because back in the early day, okay, the early days, the 88, 89 was rave, but then, and if you weren't into the sound of Chicago,
Yeah.
but then, you know, New York got involved in the early 90s, and it was soulful house. And even when you went to play, and ecstasy was new, everyone was on pills, so you had 100% of the people in that room doing this all night. Now, you've got people on ketamine, acid, mushrooms, speed, coke, MD, and whatever fucking other drug. I don't even GH.
Yeah.
Whatever. And so the ketamine crowd are, the acid crowd are, I can fly. You know, the MD crowd are doing this. So you don't have. I mean, I'm not saying you don't ever have it. That would be wrong. But it's different. And back in the day, when there were no genres, there was early 90s, there was Italo house, all the Italian house, and there was piano house.
Warehouse techno, you know.
And of course you had, but that was the warehouse and the techno sound. That was very, very small in the bigger scheme of things.
Yeah, of course.
And it wasn't, for my sins, it wasn't a road that I went down. And I kind of do regret that a little bit. But back in the day, you would play Underworld Res next to Nightcrawlers or Robin S. when they were still underground. Then Spooky Shmoo, and then whatever. And it all made sense. But now, if you go to Beatport House. No, sorry, not Beatport, SoundCloud. When I post my radio show on SoundCloud and you put house in, there's something like 35, 45 subgenres of house. Yeah. But here's the thing. If you don't categorize them, and this is I find it quite hard. And I don't call it melodic techno, I call it progressive techno. Yeah. Just because it's just progressive, but with a harder kick and a harder bass. So for me, it's progressive techno. But you couldn't play a melodic progressive house next to a progressive techno, next to an indie dance, next to an electro, next to a Dilby deep house, and because it wouldn't make sense. Yeah. So, and often when you play, and this is also my regret that I've cut down my gigs, so I'm not playing out maybe only twice a week. So, and for example, I didn't do my radio show last week. I did it yesterday. And over the last 2 weeks, 78 new tracks. Oh, wow. 78. If you're doing a 2-hour set, you're going to play 30. And I've already got fucking brilliant stuff from the month before, which I want to play as well. So it's to me, I think it's the hardest. It's much harder to be a DJ now because I love house. What house do they like? And sometimes, and this is what I did at Lighthouse a year ago, I hadn't played for a year. I thought I'd play with them. I couldn't. They didn't want to be played with. They just wanted what was happening for the 2 hours before me and then my first hour. Yeah. So, when I'm going through music, and of course you get it wrong when you play a track, and I always take my laptop because I use Recordbox and I use full browser. So instead of scrolling through on the thing, I can just go down. Yeah, fuck, I got to play that. Yeah. Fuck, I didn't play that. And because everything's in acid, this is how my genres go. Acid, deep house vocal, deep house vocal, electro, cool house. I made myself a new genre. Cool. So it's not house. Okay. Like Kasim or Hot Since 82, for example. And it's not tech house like Mal P or whatever. But it's stuff that I would play happily at Seaboard. And that's so Seaboard is his place, we talked about it earlier, where it's an older crowd and they go, providing the music is great, they go with you. So, and that's my bench line.
Yeah.
Would I play at Seaboard? Because it's a super credible gig to play.
Yeah, accepting, loving.
So then I have cool house, melodic house vocal, progressive house, but melodic progressive, because what we were listening to Denox, some of it was really digweed progressive, some of it was Catania progressive and Sasha progressive, which is more melodic than Digweed would start. If Digweed was playing a 5-hour set, for example, his first 2 hours would be very 1 2 2, but just deep progressive. But then you get progressive techno, then you get techno, and so when I'm in my genre, I stick with it this is why, I love playing long sets.
Yeah.
Because otherwise
you have the time to play.
Yeah, you have time to, otherwise you're doing 3 3 3 3 3.
You said something there that you have a folder for deep house and a folder for deep house. What's the difference between
Okay, because as I said, with Beatport, Dilby is the one thing about when you get OLDER, your memory, that's my worst problem. And I'm looking at everything and I go, fuck it. And I audition 4 or 5 tracks before I find the one that will work with what I'm doing in my head. Deep house is, I would play deep house at Jungle Experience. But I wouldn't play deep house. So deep house is much more underground, much more deeper. Say even more Detroit with that Detroit sound with techno rides. But it's completely the opposite from a Dilby. I keep saying Dilby, but most people watching this, if they're into deep house, would know who Dilby is.
At the end of the day, all those genres exist in people's head. Yes and no, because we can look at the same track and you see 6 and I see 9 based on the experience that I had in my life with music.
Yeah.
So it's just, some people just love to be the one that knows the genre. No, it's not melodic trance, it's a basic. And okay, dude, it's deep house. Okay, dude, it's progressive, minimal, trance.
What the fuck you want?
Yeah, call it whatever you want. At the end of the day, either it's good music, or not a good music.
Yes, but you can't go from deep house to in.
That's for sure.
Yeah, that's the thing. And sometimes, and when I play out, so I'm listening to it before I buy it, or if it's a promo. Before I download it, then I listen to it again to put it in genre and in key. Then I listen to it again when I put it in record box. And sometimes when it gets to that, fuck, why did I call it cool house? It's fucking house. Yeah. Or why did I call it deep? It's not fucking deep house. And then when you go play it, you think, fuck. I got the energy level wrong. So the energy level also is massively important. Your set can't do, and you go, fuck. And obviously some things at 1 2 2 or 1 2 3, when you play them at 1 2 6, it'll go from energy level 2 to 3 or to 4. But of course you're aware of that. But the fundamental origin of the track could be.
I love how passionate you are about what you're doing, and I got my answer for why you're still doing it, because it looks like it's one of the only things that you still love. And we're progressing in your career, and you find the radio. You get to the Kiss FM era. Tell me a little bit about that era.
Okay, very briefly, because initially I was involved in the application. I did 3. We had London was saturated with pirate radio before 1988, when the radio authority offered all these new licenses, or one license. The only way you could apply was if you came off air as a pirate. Otherwise, you weren't eligible. So everyone came off. But Kiss, funny enough, was the one pirate I didn't do, because I didn't like it. Because I was taught to broadcast. I know this sounds really crap, but I did 3 years on hospital radio, but where we were taught by professional broadcasters, and that doesn't, and so the first thing is, you don't put a coat hanger in your, hey, dang, like, you're you, and the way you speak to people, right, like I'm talking to you, but it wasn't just Kiss. All the guys were, hey, you want to kick a shout out now? Call us London 071, how you doing, London town? I don't want to be shouted at on the radio. I want to be spoken. So I took a picture of my then girlfriend, and she used to sit on the desk, the photo, and I would talk to her. And so with Kiss, when Kiss came along, I got the breakfast show for 2 years, which was the fucking one show I never wanted, because by definition, breakfast shows on, commercial radio are the most commercial. But we were Kiss, so it wasn't like listening to Crapital FM or even Radio 1 or whatever. And the fucking chart show. Fuck. And then Malibu came on as a sponsor, and they kind of made me, that I lost some of my natural, because I had to start pronouncing all my D's and all my T's and all my D's and blah, blah, blah. But when they came on as a sponsor, I got an extra hour to play what the fuck I wanted. So it was meant to be all the tracks that would go into the chart. Yeah. I did. I just played the fucking newest house that I bought from from Tag or City Sounds or Quaff, and I used that hour, and it turned out that more people were talking about my 1 hour before the chart show than they were about Danny Rampling or Judge Jules' proper specialist shows on a Friday or Saturday night. And then Jules and Danny went to Radio 1, so I inherited their shows. And then Kiss was owned by EMAP at the time. They owned 22 radio stations in the key cities in the UK. So they came up with this concept of Friday Night Kiss, which I, for the first 6 months, fully produced, and it went head-to-head with Pete Tong on Radio 1. But in every area that took Friday Night Kiss, I beat Pete in the radio audience figures. But then, because the all the other stations owned by EMAP were top 40 format, their program controllers saying, oh, it's too off the wall for us. So then Kiss took over producing the whole show. And that, for me, that was a nail in the coffin, because, I'm not an idiot when it comes to radio. I know that first hour has to be radio friendly, because, and then they'll go and watch TV, but the clubbers will stay tuned to the radio. But, so that lasted. And then, 2004, new program. Yes, I was there 14 years. New program controller came in, axed all the special, because I went from daytime to specialist. Yes, axed all the specialist DJs, and I had gone into the building into Kiss that particular day, because we talked about doing another show. Yeah, and Simon Wanker says to me, that was your last show last night. And I left the building in fucking tears. I just loved doing, and I thought, that's it, fucking career's done.
At what point do you feel that, as you are in the radio business and you're starting doing it, and momentum is starting to get up and you're doing your thing, at what point you started understanding that there's hype around the Graham Gold brand? How did it feel being a
Can
young?
I be really honest?
Always.
I've never felt there's a hype around Graham Gold. And I had a friend on Sunday night, where we were, Graham Gold. I said, please shut the fuck up. and when people introduce me as Graham Gold, I said, I'm Graham. And I swear to God, I'm not saying that for you or for the camera.
Absolutely.
I've always been that way, because I had a period of producing 15 years. I made some good tracks. But fundamentally, at the end of the day, we're playing other people's music, and we're just doing a job that puts us in the media.
Yeah.
It doesn't make us fucking special.
Absolutely.
We're probably more special than a fucking reality TV star.
Probably.
With their 15 minutes of fame who then go...
I know you're humble. I know how humble you are. I've seen the video of Jay's from Full Moon Radio with the Graham Gold inside the pool. It wasn't my idea. It wasn't my idea. No problem. It could have been your idea. It could have not. It's all good. You deserve it, Graham.
Oh, thank you.
You deserve it. After 53 years, 50 years of career, Graham.
Do you reckon I'll get an MBE like Pete Tong, and who else just got one? I know Pete Tong, not Jules. Norman Jay, who's a UK house legend, he was made an MBE some years ago for so. But of course, I'm here. I'm kind of class myself as semi-retired, but yesterday I did an 11-hour day, for fuck's sake, so I'm not sure what.
You're on the top of your shit, Graham.
No,
it's beautiful to
bless
see.
you all. I was 90s. Well, in London I was all through the 80s, and then because I was writing for blues, and do you know what a typical day? So, no one becomes a DJ overnight.
Yeah.
So obviously I said, I knew when I was 14, 15 what I wanted to. So from 83 until I got 82 until I landed the Soul Show on Capitol, I was getting up at 11 in the morning, go for my run, do an hour workout in the gym, have lunch, and I was married at the time, drive 2 hours from Harrow down to Deptford to do pirate radio, 4 till 7, and I had the keys to Gulliver's, the club keys, so I would get into the West End at 8, I would cook my dinner in the staff kitchen, I would produce the next day's radio show, play till 3:30, get home at 4:30, get up at 11. I did, and then on the Saturday and Sunday, when I wasn't doing the radio show, I was writing. I was singles reviewer for Blues and Soul magazine. I had a column in Root magazine. All these were, black magazines. And then Sunday, I'd record every show on cassette, and then I would play them, trying to find the best links to make a demo tape to send off to all the fucking legal radio stations. 3 or 4 years, that was life. It was 18 hours a day.
Oh, wow.
And it was no luck involved, and I had a few
Grinding. You were grinding, yeah, 100%.
I had a few doors slammed in my face, but I kicked the fuckers open because I believed in myself. But say now with house music, when I go play, am I reading this crowd right? Or can I play with them? Do I have to stick with here? Where do I start? It's maybe that's only me, because I don't see Acrobat like that or Chong like that, or
because it's you living in your head, and that goes for everybody.
Overthinking, or
that's everybody, because your entire circumstances, and your insecurities and your thing that's going into your mind. After 50 years of playing sets, to be like, I've been last week to Lighthouse and it was shit, and care so much about it.
It wasn't Lighthouse that was shit. It was me. It was me.
Exactly. I'm not saying like
No,
that.
I know, but I just wanted to.
Of
in
course.
case anything gets back to
Of
Peter. What are you
course.
doing? You're calling my clothes. No, we're not. Lighthouse is great.
Lighthouse is great. I always loved it. But when you say like, if you care so much about what you're still doing after 50 years, it means it shows how much you care about it. And when you care about that much, it has its pros, which is, okay, I'm going to do good and better every time I do it. But it also has its cons, I'm more sensitive to my own judgment about how was it and about what people think, So again, we go back to the point of like being a human, It's how vulnerable you are on your insecurities and how hard are you with yourself. At the end of the day,
Yeah, and also, so I've lived on this beautiful piece of paradise for 17 years this year, and when I did move here, I was the only DJ that actually came with a reputation. All the DJs at the time, other than Chong, who used to play back in Paris, but he wasn't a Graham Gold in Paris. Although I'm humble, I was aware because people just come, oh my God, are you Graham Gold? And it's like
one of them. Yeah.
So I knew, and then, so of course some of the DJs, they were resentful that I'd come along, and they just thought I was big-headed fuck, which I was never, but they had that impression. They'd already put that in their head. Oh, he's going to be a big-headed fuck.
They put it in their head.
But it wasn't. I was very humble, and took me a while to fit in to the scene, to be accepted. But yeah, I knew that I came with a reputation, and if you have a reputation, people do want to fucking
there's nothing in the world like living in someone's head rent-free.
Yeah,
they can think about you or anybody as much as they want, and it's only their problem.
My son, my son's a superstar DJ, Ben Gold. He's like signed to Armada, and he played Phuket a couple of weeks ago. He plays every ASOT, a State of Trance, and his tracks are always in the ASOT top 10, always. I know, and now he's gone 145. It's like, what the fuck? But anyway, he was playing the Unconscious Festival in Phuket a couple of weeks ago, and we were kind of having a little kind of discussion like this, and he said, Dad, you've got to get the book How Not to Give a Fuck. There's actually a book called How Not to Give a Fuck. I need anyone listening, if you know what, I'm going to Google it actually when I get home, because I forgot to do this. But
I'm going to get you this book.
I need, because I need to stop giving a fuck what people think.
Yes, but I think that a better solution, instead of not giving a fuck, because that is an honest person trying to go from one extreme to the other.
Yeah, true.
The idea is not giving a fuck. The idea is changing the relationship that you have with giving a fuck. You can give a fuck, but what energy that it draw from you. Like giving a fuck is good because it means you care, but it doesn't have to be like, oh, your opinion sucks, I don't give a fuck, go fuck yourself. It doesn't have to be like that. We're not this kind of people. You will never be this person because you are nice. From the bottom of your heart, you're a good man.
Actually, I am a nice person.
Yes, you are. So don't giving a fuck about what others think is not our character, Graham.
No, you're right.
Or you just need to understand, like, okay, I can give a fuck, but if it takes too much energy from me, then fuck it. It's the relationship is not the thing that you need to treat is not your relationship with others. It's with yourself.
Left side, right side.
Exactly. And let me ask you another question. There's Graham Gold of the techno, of the house, of this. There's Graham Gold of the trance. Different people, different culture, different substances. What is the biggest difference between Graham Gold of the house and Graham Gold of the trance?
Fuck. God, now that is a very... Okay, Trance was then... how can I make a really good analogy of this? Trance was then when... And in the trance scene... Mostly people are still on MD, mostly. I've turned my back on trance per se, not completely, but 2000, no, 99, 2000, 2001, don't forget, I started playing it in 96, and actually, if you go back to 95, Le Tour, who was actually born in Chicago, his most commercial track was People Are Still Having Sex. He also did a track called Blue, which was featured in 9.5 Weeks, or the other movie that's like 9.5 weeks.
Wow.
But anyway, and oh my God, it's fucking amazing. It actually got remixed a couple of years ago, and it's got this fucking incredible deep synth in it. Oh my God, it's perfect MDMA music.
Yeah.
But anyway, there was a trance mix on the B-side. They called it Trance, back in 95. But I think for me, when I discovered Bedrock, and John Digweed, sometimes he did the whole night on his own. Sometimes Catania would come over, Lawler would play, Sasha would play. It was once a month on a Thursday at Heaven in London, and I would be there at fucking 8:30. And because it was my once a month. No, not strictly two. I did go party Sundays too sometimes. But it was once a month. And I would do 2 pills. And if John was playing on his own, I'd be going, John,
one of my...
pick me up, I can dance to. And then run into the VIP toilet to boss a line. But of course, John's music, that whole progressive scene, and this is what also fucked Tiesto, because Tiesto, whatever people say about him now, he's making $1 million gig in fucking Hakkasan in Vegas.
You can say whatever the fuck you want.
But he was a trailblazer, and he was brilliant. And of course, back in the early days, Tiesto tracks weren't made by Tiesto, but anyway. But he changed the genre of trance. He made tech trance when tracks like Traffic came along and things like that. And also, and the BPM was 135, but obviously there was trance at 135. Matt Darey was making 135.
Yeah.
Digweed, the whole Bedrock thing was anything from 123 to 1. And so I took the upper levels or try to take the upper levels of that and put it in my trance sets at God's Kitchen, the few times I played Gatecrasher, but Slinky, Passion, all the UK super clubs. And sometimes, I'm looking at the promoter and I can see him go, so I've had to, but it became my love. That the more melodic, say now it's, so I think the difference in the Graham Gold to trance is that I knew exactly what. No, I've never had a set. I've never made a set. Only if I'm doing an hour at a festival, because for sure you don't want to be going. You've already pre-built the set.
Yeah,
and we all know, everyone in the world, half the fucking sets DJs play at festivals, it's actually already been pre-mixed. But
the culture has changed.
Yeah, so I knew exactly what I was going to play. I knew exactly what I had to play. But with how, and of course, and I was a trailblazer because there were, because of being on the radio and because of being in the first 2 years of the DJ Mag Top 100, I was 22. I would get acetate. So that's things that not even been pressed on vinyl. And it would be me, Oakenfold, Judge Jules, maybe. So I would have, and sometimes I'd play, I followed I remember once at Passion, when Delirium Silence was huge. And he was the promoter, but so the night was only 10 till 4. So the sets were 10 till 12, 12 till 2, 2 till 4.
Yeah.
And even when I did warm up in my own club, which is Peach, where we're having our this year's first reunion at Ministry of Sound, April 5. I wouldn't play any fucking big tunes in warm up. You don't do it.
Yeah, of course.
But this fucker at 5 to 12 played Delirium Silence.
Oh, wow.
When, that was a 2:00 in the morning track. And you should only hear one track one time in a night.
Of course.
And he was almost like going, fuck you, Goldie. Follow that. So I just went, and I just got it the day before. Matt Darey Liberation. Ferry Corson had just delivered me the masters. He remixed it because I signed it to my then label, Good As. Ferry had remixed it. Can't even tell you what he remixed it for. It was a fraction of what he charged everybody else. But we signed it on to something like Positiva. And we had 3 points on that track and the follow-ups and all. We made a four. I mean, and I, business-wise, is not my thing, and I didn't even, it wasn't even me negotiated the deal, it was my business partner in the label, and like, hey, we made a lot of fucking money out of Mad Dairy, and of course, the only way people would have heard that was if they'd have heard my radio show that night, but I was in Leicester, and Kiss didn't get to Leicester, so this DJ's gone, fuck you, follow this, so I mix it in, and the crowd went mental because it's Matt. Trance lovers will know this track, Matt Darey Liberation, Ferry Corson remix. But yeah, I think that's it. But now with house, I'm way. You didn't have to be thoughtful then, if that makes sense.
It does make sense.
Obviously you played with a certain energy level, and for sure. I didn't understand. I'm not musical, and of course we didn't have things like mixed in key or anything.
Yeah.
So, but I never key clash. But with house, because of multi-genre and stuff, I'm audition, and because now we're on CDJs and playing on flash drive, I will audition 3 or 4 or 5 tracks that just go. No, this is what I want with this, and I'm already planning 2 ahead. So I think it's a much more thoughtful art to DJ with house music.
I think that you said earlier that is still in my mind is that you think that these days it's much harder to be a DJ. As for DJs right now, I am a DJ myself. It feels like much easier, because of the sync buttons. Of course, you have tons more music, you have tons more genres, but the technology, it's much easier. Getting music, it's much easier.
Okay. So your question was, do I think it's easier to be a DJ?
Like from what aspect?
Okay, yes, absolutely, because you don't even have to learn to
Vinyls,
mix,
man,
but you don't have to learn to mix, but mixing is a fucking bit. I had to do a vinyl set at this festival up in Chiang Mai the other week. It took me 15, but I mean, I always remembered that on a Technics 1210, 0.8 is 1 BPM. So
needles, man. What?
So 0 is the thing, and then you see them 1, 2, 3, like plus 4, but plus 0.8 is 1 BPM. Okay. So, but back in the day, all my records had the BPM and the key written on. So if I'm playing something at 125 and it's at 0, and the next one is 138, I know. Got to plug 2.4. Right, plus it, and then you're almost there.
I get it.
But here's the other thing: if you digitized some of those tracks from 89, 91, whatever, and you dropped them into Ableton or Logic or Cubase, whatever, it will tell you. So you'd have it as BPM 122, for example. You digitize it, you put it into Ableton, and it'll actually be 121.53. Because this is 35 years ago, or 30 years of technology. Chris. And computers then weren't what they are now. Absolutely. So that also shows you why, even though you had it 122, you still have to push it in, do this a little bit. But to be a DJ is easy, but then you've also got to completely understand social media.
Yeah, this is the problem of these days.
And if you want to be a big DJ, back in the day, okay, I had a radio show. I produced, but that didn't come till much later. I had a radio, or when house music came along, you were a technical genius like James Zabilia or Eddie Halliwell, who were just, how the fuck do they do this?
Yeah.
And there used to be a DJ in Spain when I played in I think Benidorm, Abel Ramos. And he was doing things with vinyl, and I was the first DJ to bring him to England. I was also the first DJ promoter to bring Armin Ferry, Tiesto, the Flash Brothers. So I've done quite, I've
Been there, done that.
Yeah. But now, if you want to be a successful DJ and for it to be your fully working life, you have to produce.
Yeah.
Because you look at any flyer in any city or any poster in any city in any country in the world, it would be Dinox, Oliver Koletsky, Solar Moon, whoever.
Yeah.
But we only know of these people because they produced.
Yeah.
Consistently.
Yeah. For years, Dinox with Beckers and things like that,
But just think, if Dinox had never, I don't know what Dinox did before those, because my memory of Dinox is Dinox and Beckers.
Yeah.
Not Dinox before. But with anyone, we only know of these people because we're playing their here's the other thing, because we as DJs are playing their music.
Yeah.
But even the general public, even the cooler club, the clubbers that go to the cooler club, they for sure don't know the name of probably 3/4 of the tracks you're playing.
Probably.
So that's why the productions have to be constant, and you have to be working the social media so your name gets out there.
Yeah.
I remember there used to be this festival in Bangkok, and she booked John O'Callaghan, who's still actually a big trance DJ. But 10 years ago, he was, probably top 10.
Yeah.
But they had to put the names of his tracks on the flyer for people to understand, this is
just
John O'Callaghan.
Yeah.
Because people don't know. They go, who's actually there was somebody at the party on Sunday. And the girl said, who's playing?
Some people, it is what it is. And at what point did you decide to leave the UK to come here?
I woke up one morning, 2007. I'd lost my gig on KISS. I was doing Ministry of Sound Radio. But the gigs had kind of really calmed down. And I woke up one Monday morning, email from friend, just bought a dive school in Thailand. I wrote back, whereabouts? He went, Koh Phangan. I wrote back, never heard of it. Actually, I had, because I had booked to come to Koh Phangan in 2002, the year of the tsunami, but I got a late booking for Pasha at their Sharm el Sheikh club on New Year's Eve. And I said, well, I'm only playing if I can bring my girlfriend. So, and there were all the scheduled flights had gone, so we had to get a charter, which meant we ended up with a 2-week free holiday. And we left Christmas Day, and then Boxing Day, we heard about the tsunami.
Yeah.
So I said to Michelle, I don't think and I'd never played Thailand. I'd played Singapore loads, Hong Kong loads, Malaysia loads, Jakarta loads, Indonesia. Never been to Thailand. So I didn't understand the geography of the island. And I also didn't understand that actually it doesn't matter that like 20,000 people died that side. It's high season and they just want to make the money out, the tourists. So anyway, so I said, never heard of it. And I worked out what I could leave England with. And I wrote back, what can expire me? And he put Paradise. Oh, okay.
I want that.
Like, I'm up for a bit of paradise. So I got a gig at in Bangkok one Saturday. Then in Pattaya, for my sins, if I had a plane with a bomb on it, I would bomb that city. It shouldn't exist.
Wow.
The following Saturday. And I came here on the Sunday to the Friday. And I flew from Bangkok to Samui, and then got the little truck from the airport to... This isn't paradise. This is actually... And then my friend met me at Tong Sala, that's our pier at the port, and drove me north to Charlotte.
Okay.
Okay.
That makes more sense.
And it was pre-Russian invasion. So obviously now we have an Israeli invasion, but it was a pre-Russian invasion. The place was fucking deserted. Like literally, because it was November.
Yeah.
So it was really low season. The high season here is December to April. And but they were so happy with Bangkok and Pattaya, they said, sure, if you move once a month. So that was the money kind of guaranteed. And then I knew I'd get some other gigs here. And but Samui, it's our bigger sister island. So if you're European watching this, think Mallorca, Ibiza, Menorca. Think Samui, Koh Phangan, Koh Tao. We're the middle island. We're the party island. We're discovered by hippies.
Exactly.
We're it's a trio of islands. Anyway. But Samui had the bigger party scene, and everybody said, why don't you live on Samui? It's like living in Tel Aviv with hot water around it.
Exactly.
It's traffic jam.
Exactly. It's city life versus village life.
Yeah.
You know?
How long did it take you to lose your Western? It took me 2 years to lose my Western. Fuck, why am I driving at 60k an hour? I don't have to go anywhere.
So it depends on the day. And honestly, if I want to be like honest, it depends on the mood. I try to drive kind of slow, but sometimes I don't do it, you know, and I try to put helmet as much as possible, but sometimes I don't do it, you know.
Oh, wrong.
I know.
You know, Thailand, someone said it's India, but I think it's Thailand, has more road deaths than any other country in the world.
100% that I can do. And if
There's
say what?
more deaths on this island than ever get announced. And I heard this, that if you're in a road traffic accident and you're dying, they get you to Samui. So you become a Samui statistic, not a Koh Phangan statistic.
Seriously?
And, you know, and you've seen the idiot fucking tourists these last few months who they shouldn't even have a bike.
Don't get me started.
And I never wore a helmet, but I've lost not quite a few, but like 4 or 5 friends in road accidents. And but other people have lost more. So in October, I don't know why, it was just I was with my girlfriend and we passed this bike shop and fuck, I'm going to buy us helmets. But you know what fucks me off is you see the couples on the island with crash helmets, mum and dad, and their 5-year-old, 4-year-old kid.
Nothing.
No helmet.
Nothing.
I fucking scream. If I'm in a bad mood, I go fuck.
Somebody's going to be screamed at.
It's wrong. It's terrible. It's a dangerous island. It's like, I'm doing this podcast for you. You have to promise me you will always wear your
My helmet is right out there. I'm going to put it.
Even if it's only 5 minutes to tops.
I will. No, you're completely right. It's the illusion of this freedom bullshit.
100% you're right.
You know, like, I'm on an island at all the roads, like we have 2 lights on the island, so I'm free and I want to see people. Bullshit.
And I want to feel the wind through my hair.
Bullshit.
I wish.
Bullshit. Bullshit, you know, because it's us just thinking we have this God mentality that nothing can hurt you, but then you find yourself on the floor.
20 years ago you could. 20 years ago.
Right now you cannot.
No, you can't.
The traffic is too, like, you remember like 2017, 2015, like you had 18 cars on the island.
A traffic jam was a drunk Thai in front of you, even in the middle of the afternoon, doing 10k an hour, indicating to go round a bend and braking.
You know what I mean?
I'm not talking about a left turn, I'm talking about a bend, and indicating and braking to almost stop.
Yeah.
You go, what?
So we talked about the past, we talked about the current state of things, and how long do you think you're going to still do it?
You know, I was thinking, because of Lighthouse, I spent up. I'm still beating myself up.
Yeah, you are.
Because I don't like to fuck up, and I don't.
But it's part of the thing.
And also, you know, they say in football you're only as good. I mean, I'm not a football fan at all, but they say in football you're only as good as your last game. And if you play shit, you get dropped, right? So, as you know, in my head, as a DJ, you're only as good as your last gig.
I don't agree. I don't agree at all.
No, I know.
Especially when it's someone like you that you remember kind of. Give me an example of one of the best sets that you ever had.
Oh, okay. First, well, there's a few. Oh, excuse me. I woke up with a croaky today.
Drink up.
The Oman with Tiesto.
Mm-hmm.
It's Purim coming up.
Yeah.
Friday.
Yeah.
So it was Purim party.
Yeah.
I guess it was 97. Tiesto hadn't done the remix of Silence, and Ferry Corson was already going. So we both played the night time, and then we did the days. Fuck! I can't tell you how fucking messy that was.
I can guess.
My nose fell off almost.
I can guess.
But it was amazing. It was fucking amazing. Both the nighttime and the day. In fact, the residents were Jez Ansel and Chupi from Agnosia Records, and Jez or Chupi, they sent me a photo of all of us. It might have actually even been the Purim party.
Oh.
But we've both got our top. I always used to take my top off when I play. So we've both got our tops off in the DJ. And then in Europe, in Mallorca, you had, I don't think it's there now, or they rebranded it, huge club called BCM.
Mm-hmm.
And I was on the same lineup as Carl Cox. And Carl was on, obviously, he was the headliner. He was on next to me. But I got like a 5-minute, 6-minute ovation for my set before Carl started. So that was pretty fucking
Okay,
awesome.
so what I would say and what I would allow you from this point out to think about yourself is that you're only as good as taking the best set of your life and the worst one, dividing it by 2 and having an average. That's the lowest bar you can go. Because you have a whole building behind you that you built not because of luck and not because of having opportunity.
Because of luck.
You know, you grinded, like you said at the start, 18 hours a day, and it's nothing that you can take for granted. It's so easy for people like us, because I am exactly the same way. I'm always, whatever I do, it's not good enough, it's not this, it's not that. I completely understand, but we gotta be there for ourselves and say that if I had my best set and if I had my worst set, probably I'm somewhere in the middle between 2 of them.
Yeah, and even then it would probably be better than a lot of people's best sets.
Absolutely. You know what I mean? So give yourself some slack.
Yeah, no,
okay.
I know, but I'm just worried about the day I do that. So when am I going to stop?
Not when.
I don't know. I always thought, I guess I want to die behind the decks, but that would really fuck off the clubbers, especially if they're on MD. Oh God, the DJ's died.
It happened. It for sure happened sometime at some point.
I'm sure it has happened. I mean, well, no, that was not an ace. What happened at Van Dyke at an ASOT? He fell. Paul Van Dyke fell through the stage.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So, I don't know. I think I know the answer. When I really, I've stopped clubbing a lot. I'll only go to one party a week because I like, although I don't sleep till 1 or 2 in the morning because, I'm insomniac, it's fucking terrible.
Yeah.
I still like to be at the gym by 9. I do my hour, then I do my 500 meter swim in my GG pool. Was not my idea.
I understand it.
And then 20 minutes meditation, and then I'll start my day about 11:30. So I'm already bored. I'm already bored with partying. I'm going to be honest. If I want to go to a party, I either have to drink or take fucking drugs.
Yeah.
I do. And I don't. I don't want to take drugs. I fucking love drugs. No, I only like a bit of coke. That's all I like now. Little bits. I'm sorry if that offended you. I would do MD, but I can't handle the come downs.
Yeah.
I
Graham, you're the youngest, most energetic 71 years old I've ever met in my life.
I'm not 71 yet, not
yet.
lie.
70, 71, bro. Your soul is eternal. And honestly, I heard a sentence that say that you will either go out here as a number or as a name. And for sure, my brother, you're going to go out as a name, as someone that has been something, that done something, that has been someone. However you're going to treat yourself is between you and yourself.
Yeah, I actually, I've just now got the answer. Because, people like Paola, who owns Seaboard, when she writes me, hey, legend, and a lot of people call me a legend. And I guess I'm deserving of it a little bit, but, I'm not a Jeff Mills and I'm not a Carl Coxon. But anyway,
yeah,
when I really, really don't want to go and play anymore and not be excited about going to play or being nervous before I play, and also not if it ever came to a time, if I constantly repeated The Lighthouse from last week, if that was gig after gig after, then I'd go, then I would be remembered as the DJ who was.
Yeah, the washed
up. And that, I know that I don't want to be remembered.
Graham, you're not a washed up DJ. You're a milestone. And honestly, I want to thank you so much for being here with me.
Thank you for asking.
It was a beautiful... Wow. Honestly...
But I have to tell you, we've had rain for 2 days, and he said 3 o'clock today, the sun is shining outside. We could be getting a motherfucking suntan.
Well, it is what it is. Thank you so much, Graham.
Thank you so much.
KohPhanCast, guys.
Join the journey, stay for a while.